like Picasso used to say of himself, I'm an explorer.
Is that a world record?
I could be, I don't know. So
Wow.
yeah, I get this question a lot because obviously, that's what one of the first things people want to know. For me, I would say Kenya, Nairobi was one of the most fun places to like party, like in terms of like nightlife and stuff. At least from my experience, more than New York. I wish most Europeans could come to South Africa or to Eswatini to see that we are the same. It's just that we lack a bit of melanin, or you guys have more melanin, or but it's the same.
Superstar Rockstar Levol, welcome back to the biggest YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed by now, please pause this video, comment, subscribe, share, and most importantly, tell everyone about this YouTube channel. We're out here with the biggest YouTube channel in the country. We're doing good, we're doing amazing. But before I forget, shout out to Eclair Store for holding us down. We're out here in Joburg doing bigger things. And right now, the guest that I have is someone that does everything that you could think of. Someone that's into music, art, someone that's into photography, videography, someone that's into playing instruments, everything, and all-rounder. And I don't even feel like you guys would understand how much honored I am to have this guest next to me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luca Dimoon.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for
My brother, how are you?
I'm very good.
We got a chance to sit down and just have a conversation as to the name of the show is What's the Story. So we out here, we just intrigued, we want to learn, we want to know who is Luca Dimoon, what do you do, and all of that.
So I've been a singer, songwriter, producer most of my life, over 20 years now. I have my own albums, I have my own music, and then I've been also producing music for other artists, writing, producing, engineering. So all the musical, like creative part, I've been doing for myself and like my own projects, and also for other artists. And then I'm also a filmmaker, so I've been doing a lot of. I've been doing all my music videos. I've been doing music videos for other artists, internationally and locally. And then also a photographer, because photography is at the foundation of filmmaking as well. So I started off with like photography, and then I ventured into filmmaking by first doing my music videos, and then I started doing music videos for others, and then I started doing TV commercials, promotional videos, documentaries, and all that stuff. And then I'm a designer. I started designing my own clothes too, for my shows, for my brand, for, like as an artist. And then people were like, "Yo, we like that. Like, can I have it?" So I started, and I thought maybe I could, expand this to make it available to other people that want that.
Beautiful studio, by the way.
Thank you.
Before I forget, before we started the shoot, I wanted you to like sort of play something of your choice there by background, if you don't mind, for aesthetic vibes. I don't know if you're cool with that.
To play something?
Like something on your monitor that you'd like this camera to capture behind you.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would just have to turn everything on.
Yeah, it's fine. We can do it. Because this is a podcast, we can do whatever.
Yeah, of course.
It's not that deep. So, we're making it sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. Waiting for Luca to do his thing. We're probably gonna play as an exclusive, Luca, right?
Yes.
You're probably gonna play as an exclusive, so we can't wait. Something that you like to display.
Yeah, we can. Like video wise.
No, it's up to you. You can leave that. That's your logo, right?
Yeah.
You can leave the logo. You can play a video. It's like that video. I feel like the video would work too. What? Put it on sync. I don't know.
This one. Let's do this.
I don't know. No, the sound. Okay, I was saying, Luca, for the visuals, just for the visuals to keep playing on the background like this while we have the conversation. Then maybe,
Yeah, no problem.
So you can continue. So my brother, just get excited. I saw this, you playing it. I wanted to be on the background. Watch your work when they're watching to see what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were telling us that you're also a fashion
Yes, I
designer.
also design clothes. I have a clothing line that I've been pushing on and off because I'm busy with all these things. And then I'm a full-time father, which is my main profession, being a father to a beautiful daughter that I have. And then I cook a lot. That comes with being Italian. I'm very big on cooking. I cook.
Wait, basically,
Yeah,
basically you do everything.
I
Now I
do a
don't.
lot.
Now I
Yeah.
do not understand. You just said you're Italian, so please take us through your journey for people that do not know who Luca is, where you're coming from. Now you just mentioned the things that you do, but I just feel like people, some people are just would just like to understand where it all started.
So it all started in Milan, Italy. That's where I was born. And then I was in Italy until like I was a teenager, around like 18, and then I moved to London, UK. I lived in London. That's where I started. I actually first moved to London to pursue my painting journey because that's what I studied. I studied fine arts. I was drawing and painting since I was like a young kid, like 3, 4 year old, and music was more like a passion that I would keep for myself in my little room and stuff. But I studied fine arts. I started doing painting. I started doing exhibitions, and then got into sculpting, and that's what I used to do, for like most of my like when I was a kid, and then becoming a teenager and stuff. And then I moved to London to pursue a fine art like university. And when I was in London, when the first few months, I started like going to the open mics because I was passionate about music, anyways. And just then music took over. Like I just started becoming obsessed with just being like developing my skills as a singer, and then I started meeting other singers because in Italy back then was very like there was no singers that would do like soul music, R&B. I was the
Hmm.
only one, if not one of very few. So there was not much for me to get inspired from. I was always listening to stuff from music from the States or whatever. So when I was in London, I was meeting other people that liked what I liked. So it was very inspiring. So that's where I started writing songs and then started doing shows. And then I ended up just doing music and not pursuing the painting thing. And then started working on my first album, started doing shows. And then I was in London for like about 3 years. And then after that, I moved to New York because I started singing with the Harlem Gospel Choir from New York in Harlem.
Hmm.
And I was in New York for about 4 or 5 years. And then after that, I went back to Europe because I had an offer for like a record deal to release my first single. And so I was back in Europe for like a few years, and then I started traveling, doing shows internationally, and then started working on my second album, and then started working as a producer for other artists because in the meantime I developed my skills as a music producer, and then I got into filmmaking, and then I started also traveling to do like filmmaking stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then I ended up in South Africa. Before coming here, I was in Kenya for a couple of years. Before Kenya, I was in Senegal. Like I've been a bit all over the place. In Japan, in India. Yeah, so it's been an
Yo.
intense journey.
By the way, you just like changing states. You just like yeah. So how do you get to the how do you do it like where you get to to the point where you like I'll just decide because I'm guessing it's traveling for the rest of your life if that was home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there was a time where traveling was like my main thing, like how I would approach, like creativity and exploring the world and stuff. And then the other thing is that people think, oh wow, traveling so much must be scary or must be
Mm.
challenging or must be hard. But just like most things in life, once you get used to do something, then it's not a big deal anymore. Not just not just financially, because in the last 10, 15 years, traveling has been also much more accessible and affordable, right? But besides that, I know a lot of people freak out when they have to think about preparing a suitcase for a trip, or like, oh, what am I going to do, where I'm going to sleep, And again, when you're used to traveling around, learn, how to manage, when you get to a new place, where to go. You learn how to improvise, also how to find a place to, to sleep, like a hotel or Airbnb, whatever, so everything becomes easier, but also your perception of space becomes bigger, where, people that are born in one place are used to being in that space, and to move from maybe their neighborhood to another neighborhood, it's something big, or like to another city. Oh, now I have to plan, I have to think, or that's the perception of space. It's quite limited. But once you start getting on planes and traveling like 9,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers, and you become used to it, your perception of space also changes, meaning it's not a big deal for you to move 10,000 kilometers, just like it wasn't for you a big deal to move to the next neighborhood, because you get used to it and you perceive. So your playground from being your playground being your neighborhood becomes the whole world, and you're comfortable and confident to do that.
I get you, because I think for some people it's not about it's they're scared of new beginnings. One,
Yeah, and also of the unknown.
of the unknown,
Yeah.
fear of the unknown. Secondly, I just feel like people, they just tell. I don't know. You tell us the traveling. How is it? How is it like financially? Because I feel like, well, for us, for me, I think when you say you travel, it's expensive.
Yeah.
We have to spend a lot of money, and I need to make,
Well, before being expensive, the bigger issue, especially for people in the continent, is the visas, right? Which for me, because of the privilege of being Italian and an Italian male, that's a big privilege that I recognize and I'm grateful for. That privilege, first of all, in terms of visa, being Italian, I have access to a lot of countries without having to apply or going through long processes, or being accepted, or all that stuff. I can just hop on a plane and get in a country and get visa at the airport when I land, right? Where, for example, a South African brother, if he wanted to go to, or I'm guessing also someone from Swaziland, from Eswatini, if they want to go to Italy, they cannot just hop on a plane and go. They need to apply for a visa. And for that, not just time, it takes documents. You need to prove that you can sustain yourself financially. You need to prove that you have reasons to go back home, to go back to Eswatini, because that's another thing that they see, that they look when the people that approve the visas. If you have like a family that you are supporting and you have a job there that is giving you, then they're like, okay, this guy is gonna most likely go back home. But if you're like have nothing, no family, no work, they think this guy is trying to move to Europe. Do you see what I'm saying? So they will deny. I have many friends from South Africa who the visa was denied because they didn't have like ties this side that would sort of like make the people that approve visa think that they have a reason to come back. So without talking about this thing too much, what I'm trying to say is that it's already hard to be able to go to another country if you are from places like South Africa or Swaziland or Senegal, Kenya. Like that's the first challenge. That's the first sort of like limitation. Let alone the financial aspect.
Yeah.
Once you but then the good news is that once you get approved, like as a South African, for example, once you get your visa approved to go to Europe, then you're most likely to get it approved again and again if you want to go back. So the first challenge, the hardest part is to get the first approval. That's how it works, right? Then once it's approved, then you're gonna get it easier. But yes, it takes that to get it approved. You need all the documents. You need to show that you have like a big amount of money in your bank account, so that you can prove that you can sustain yourself that side. All that stuff, So that's the first challenge, and then the other thing is to have a bit of financial freedom to allow you to travel and stuff, because flights can be expensive. unfortunately, things got worse lately because before, with like, let's say $500, you could pretty much fly everywhere from Europe, like in the world. Now prices doubled. Like even I just got back from Europe like 2 weeks ago, and I paid double what I usually pay. And then once you get in the places, there are ways to to limit your costs, like with Airbnbs, or there's like sites like Couch Surfing, which is a website where you just apply and you get people that can host you in the houses. You sleep on the couch or in a for either for free, or it's a whole community, or with very little money. And then if you know your way to also like eat food in the right places without wasting too much money, and depending on activity and stuff. But it's definitely more affordable than people might think, because you don't have to go all the way out and go to the 5 stars hotels and move around with like cabs or like nice meter taxis or Ubers, or there's ways to do it at different costs. So but like I said, unfortunately, the main challenge is, first of all, is the visa issue, and then on top of that, I was saying, I'm privileged because like as a male, I'm privileged is because as a male, I'm also less likely to be at risk if I go places. A woman, it's more at risk, right? It's like if I go to, like I was in India, a while ago, or like I can travel like in a safe in a safe way for the most part. Like I'm not really in danger. For a woman to go into to certain countries, it's a bit more risky because just like around
Yeah,
Africa. Yeah.
I see. So, you mentioned that you have a family, your father.
Yeah.
Doesn't that affect you when you're traveling? Do you
Well,
travel with?
not much. I mean, I've been traveling because my daughter is 4 year old, right? So she's 4 years old. So I've been doing like most of my traveling before she was born, and then lately, like since she was born, I travel with her. So now I went to Europe for like a month, and she was with me. We went to Italy, we went to Spain. She travels with me. She's my ride or die, and she's used to it, and she loves it. And so she's the one who's like, okay, when we get on the plane, I'm gonna order this. Like she knows already, what's coming and how things work. And oh yeah, but Daddy, get the passport ready. So when we get to the check-in, like she knows the whole process of traveling and going to airports and stuff.
Crazy, bro. It's
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, she's been to Italy, like she's been to Europe like 7 times already in 4 years.
School, how do you balance school?
No, she just started like fresh,
Oh,
so
yeah, oh, yeah.
again, she's still. That's also the goal.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So in this midst of traveling, this whole thing of you changing countries, what do you do exactly? Because you mentioned that um, you make music for other people. You like produce. You shoot film. You should also you like take pictures. What do you do? How do you start to, maybe let's say for instance you come to South Africa. What do you have in mind, like from when you're leaving the place that you're from, when you wanna like spend time here, just like you said you're in India?
So now So the thing is I've been based in South Africa
Okay.
in the last like 6 years, right? So this is home. This is also where I have my recording studio, which is where
Okay.
we are right now. So this is home base, like my second home, because my home is like Italy, Milan. But now Joburg, it's my second home and where I spend most of my time. So now if I go to another country, it depends if I'm going for a show, like to perform, with as a singer, as a performer, then or if I'm going to shoot a documentary, or so, or if I'm just going to explore, because like when I was shooting one of my music videos that I shot, I think I mentioned to you before this, in 12 different countries. In that case, sometimes I would go to a country and just explore to capture content for that purpose, for that music video. So it really depends on what the purpose is, But if I go to perform, I always also try to bring my gears, like my camera gears, so that I can also, maybe if I see something interesting or I come up with an idea for a video, for a short video, for a documentary, I can do it. Um, yeah. So, but I haven't in the last few years. I haven't going to other countries with the intention of settling or like moving there for a while. In the last few years. Before, yeah, I would move to places and just spend, extensive amount of time and just be there, integrating with the community and stuff. But lately, yeah, now I travel more to just do something in specific, and then I come back to South Africa.
So I want to get to the music video that was shot in 12 different countries because that's so interesting. Is that a world record?
I could be, I don't know.
So we'll get to that. I wanted to ask you about your favorite like country. What's one country that you went to and you felt like?
So
wow.
yeah, I get this question a lot because obviously, that's what one of the first things people want to know. For me, and I'm not trying to be complicated, it really depends on what are we talking about, because there's no like perfect country that can fulfill all your needs, right?
Okay.
So, like for example,
Let's say musically.
Musically, I would say obviously like US, like New York, it's very inspiring, right? London can be, but I would say New York is, one of the most inspiring places for the music that I do, which is a blend of soul, funk, jazz with the electronic experimentations and stuff. But then again, when it comes to, for example, spirituality, I would say India is a very like spiritually based, very inspiring on a spiritual level, So I would say that's the most inspiring, the best place I've been to if you are looking for a spiritual, connection, and if you want to explore, your spiritual like realms and understand about spirituality and the different, aspects of spiritualities and stuff, because a lot of people approach life in a very spiritual way in India, even though it can become a bit stereotypical, and it can become a bit, in a way superficial. Like people go to be spiritual because it's cool, So there's also, I notice there's a lot of people going there because it's sort of like trendy or whatever. They're not really interested, But it's definitely, the most spiritual country I've been to. When it comes to nature, most beautiful place I've been to is Borneo. Borneo is an island it's between Malaysia and Indonesia, and it's 70%. It's the third biggest island in the world. It's 70% Indonesian territory, 30% Malaysian, and 29%. 1% is Brunei, and that's where you have the biggest biodiversity on the planet. You have one of the oldest, if not the oldest, rainforest in the world, and there you have animals that only exist there in the wilds. Yeah, like orangutan. I think that's the only place where you find orangutan monkey in its in his own environment, and so it's just mind blowing, to be like, when it comes to nature, and if you want to connect to nature, that place for me was the most inspiring. When it comes to food, Italy, hands down, obviously. So what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't maybe not say every country, but there's so many countries that have amazing things, that you can get, but not necessarily everything in one country. So like I said, if I want a specific thing, I know which country I go to. If I want other things, I go to other countries. There's no country that has the best biodiversity, the best spiritual, life, the most amazing food, and the best party life, because when it comes to that, for example, I would say Kenya, Nairobi was one of the most fun places to like party, like in terms of like nightlife and stuff. At least from my experience, more than New York. Like Nairobi is more fun than New York, from my experience. Yeah. So again, it depends,
But
if you wanna, yeah.
Sorry to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what she's still saying those things, like in my head, I have this question that I wanted to ask you, but I told you that you have to answer me on the podcast. What's the best term that describes Luca?
The best term.
Best term. Who's Luca? I'm not sure if I have the proper way of asking this question, but what do you do? Yeah, that's
I
the
would
thing.
say like Picasso used to say of himself, I'm an explorer.
Okay.
I explore realms. I explore, I explore different realms where there is, artistic realms, where there is natural like realms and like actual physical places. I explore, the both the inner and the outer universes. So I like to explore, things, places, spirits, craft, like so I explore, like I said, I like to say I explore both the inner and the outer universe through the lens of a poet. That's what I like to do, and I try to compose. I like to create, to be a vessel, and put together things and compose things, whether it's a piece of music or a music video or a short movie or a nice meal, and or an outfit. I compose things, with the elements, through my experience, through my sensitivity. I put things together and shape them in a way that I find, interesting or beautiful, and then I share it with, the world,
So
that they can connect. Because it's about connecting at the end of the day. I think as human beings, connection is the thing that makes us feel more alive. When we share an experience, it feels more real. Like imagine like when you go to a beautiful island, right? And because it happened to me, like you go to one of the most beautiful islands in the world, in the middle of nowhere, and you find yourself swimming amongst sea turtles, and you have dolphins jumping out the water and stuff. You're like, I feel like I'm in paradise. It's the most beautiful. But if you're by yourself, yes, you can, still feel good and take it in. But when there's someone else with you, which you have a connection with, then that person is there also to witness. You guys are both witnessing what's happening. So it becomes more three-dimensional, it becomes more tangible, and it's more real. It's less like, because if you're by yourself, you might think in like a couple of weeks later, you might think, did I dream of that? You know what I mean? Because it was just you. But if we went together, you're like, yo, 2 weeks later, remember like when that turtle was like, so, and it becomes more, tangible, and it's more real, and it's more, so that's why I think, and that applies to every beautiful experience and the bad stuff too. When you share, experiences on this temporary life we are blessed with, on this crazy planet, and we connect with other people and we share experiences, they become much more intense and much more, like I said, tangible, and much more, in a way, valuable. So connection to me, it's fundamental.
It's crazy. So you're a spiritual person.
I think spirituality is at the foundation of everything I do.
You always wear black.
I like black, but I sometimes wear other colors.
I thought maybe we wear black for a specific reason.
No, I just like it. I just like the feel. I like the minimalism of it. I like the elegance in a way that, like, gives, and
Let's get back to the 12 Countries music video.
Yeah.
Beautiful video, by the way.
Thanks, man.
So, in your head, what's going on now when you plan? What made you want to do something crazy like that?
So, it started from the concept of the song. The song is actually a rendition of a song from this American R&B band called the Stylistics. They were big in the 60s, 70s. I think they're from Philadelphia. They did this song that is called People Make the World Go Round. That was also covered by Michael Jackson, by Stevie Wonder, Michael when he was a kid. And then Stevie also covered it, and then another couple of artists. So years later, when I heard it, and it really connected with me and stuff. So I was like, I want to do my own version. So I did it for my second album. I made a, you know, new arrangement to it, and I sang it and stuff. And so the song was done. And then I thought of making the music video. And because of the song, which again, the title, it's People Make the World Go Round. When I thought about doing a video, I thought it would be cool, you know, a simple concept, nothing crazy, like to just capture people making the world go round. But I thought it would be, you know, it'd be interesting to capture people from different walks and from different places, from different countries, to see how people make the world go round through normal, like daily activities like cooking, cleaning, working, dancing, praying, whatever. All the daily things that people do to get, you know, to go through their day, to, you know, but from different angles and different cultures or, you know, communities or whatever. And then you realized, you know, the aim was to not just capture that, but also show that as long as, like, as much as we might look different, you know, in our clothes or in, you know, in maybe our skin complexion or some, you know, whatever, sometimes our ways a little bit, we are actually are fundamentally all the same. Like we fundamentally share the same fears. We fundamentally share the same desires as human beings. We all want to be loved. You know, we all have fears of, you know, death. We all have fears of, you know, a lot of things. And what I noticed when I was, you know, going through all this experiences, like, and, you know, going to all these places, that when I would sit down and talk to different people, like I was once by the Ganges River in the north of India talking to a sadhu's monk who begs. You know, he was a successful entrepreneur and then realized that that was meaningless, so he decided to give up his buildings that he owned and became a beggar, and he was living off like a couple of coins a day because he felt like he got enlightened and he got beyond, you know, the material possessions and stuff. And considering like the crazy journey he'd been through, I realized I was talking to this guy that was also looking very in a very interesting way, like this big white dreadlocks with his face painted, his whole body covered in ash, and like half naked, you know, living by the river, by the Ganges River, which is a holy river that crosses the north of India. I was in Varanasi, the most ancient city in the world, and we were talking about, you know, love. We were talking about, and again, like, you know, the fundamental desires that people have, the fears that people have, and I was like, this, like, I feel like I'm talking to my uncle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was talking to someone from my neighborhood in Milan, despite his look. But those superficial differences are redundant and they're not real. You know, they're mostly like an illusion. So that's one of the biggest lesson I got from this, you know, journey of shooting also this video, and in general all the traveling I've done, is to understand how, again, we are fundamentally all the same. And I wish that people could travel. I wish that everybody could travel so they could see that all these things that all these differences that people focus on, and because also, you know, the medias and everything, there's an agenda, you know, for them to make us focus on this redundant, you know, like superficial things, so that they keep us divided. But let's not get too political. But all these differences that people perceive also from the distorted perception that we have of other countries or whatever, when you get to this place, you'll see actually it's not so different. We are actually all we all, you know, like I said, want to be loved. We all are, you know, don't want to be judged, or we all have all the same fundamental, you know, values and stuff, and that, you know, those differences are superficial and not really relevant. So I wish, you know, that people could travel so that they could see themselves, because there's nothing like direct experience. You know, you can hear about a country, oh, you know, like being now here, I hear a lot of like South African brothers and sisters say, oh, you know, Europe, wow, they think it's paradise or people are rich, you know, but it's not true. There's a lot of poverty in Europe as well. But, you know, we have this here people have this perception that Europe is the promised land, or US, that is everybody's rich and everybody's wealthy and everybody's doing good. No, there's people sleeping in the streets in Milan, people that don't have money to eat, And on the other hand, there's people in Europe think that Africa is a place where it's just poor people, that people, kids are, at the corner of the streets with like mosquitoes flying around their head with a, big stomach and skinny, that stereotype, or if not, if it's not that, they think that people here live amongst lions and people walk around with spears. That's the perception that, which is distorted. It's not real. That they think it's a jungle, that it's still a jungle. And also they think the black man is dangerous and he's scary and he's violent, which is bullshit. So I wish most Europeans could come to South Africa or to Eswatini to see that we are the same. It's just that we lack a bit of melanin, or you guys have more melanin, or but it's the same.
It's coming to America.
Yeah.
Coming to America messed everything up. People was coming to America, then they thought
all that stuff. But the news, like, there's a lot of like stuff that movies or whatever that perpetuate this narrative that Africa is a certain way, and it's that thing of that being the jungle or being poor, and also the messed up. On the other hand, the messed up narrative, distorted narrative that Europe or US is the promised land and it's beautiful. It's not true. And again, I wish that people could travel and see with their own eyes and experience it, all this stuff. Just like they say, since we're talking about India, of how India is perceived as this filthy, stinky country. Where no, it's not true. Like I was in Varanasi, I was in Kolkata. Like it's beautiful, Of course, maybe there are certain things that people have do in a slightly different way, but fundamentally, it's not. It's just all the same.
Yeah, and still have a lot of traveling to do. So with that being said, if you've watched this video for this long, please make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button, comment, and share. Shout out to Clary. We're out here doing bigger things. We have Luca in the building, which is here. We are truly grateful to have Luca. He's throwing so many gems, and we're just receiving the information. So now, Luca, I just wanted to ask, out of curiosity, who are the... Because we all know America is like America. As you just mentioned right now, we've been told... it's the way it's been introduced to us. So I'm trying to ask, who's one? What artists that you've worked with, or maybe you've met in America, like that are known, like worldwide?
Well, when I was in New York, I met many artists. Even more when I was in London, American artists that would go to London, to Europe to promote their stuff. But I met all of most of them. I met Will Smith, I met Alicia Keys, I met, I kind of like musically, like grew up, like started doing music in a group of people, like an artist when I was in London, and amongst them, like Amy Winehouse was one of them, Craig David, like, we used to go to this live open mic places and we used to hang out, and, so I was blessed to grow up musically around that talent and around that energy. But so many Busta Rhymes, like the list can.
This time there's no selfies, bro. No selfies, nothing. You just engage, talk to people, have genuine conversations. Maybe what did you use? Landlines. You use the telephone too. What did you use?
No, well, I used to meet all these people like in person.
In person, right? That's nothing.
And then if you use cell phones after, but I met a lot of amazing artists and musicians,
Okay, so like now, what can we expect, bro? What can we expect from Luca right now? Any project that you're working on? I heard you say you have artists that come here and you do stuff for them.
So I mean, I've been working on my new music. So I'm working on my sort of like third album, and then a couple of side projects also, where one is like a funk EP that I'm working on, maybe 5-6 tracks, like pure funk, old school funk, for fun. I'm looking at doing also like a EP, like a jazz EP. I have a project also that it's more like in the like Afro pop vein, you know, that Nigerian Afro pop sound, but with my twist. So that's also been working on that for a while. And then I'm producing different artists. I'm producing some South African artists. I'm producing some European artists as a music producer, and then I'm doing music videos for them and stuff. So I've been quite busy with that stuff, but I want to get back into pushing more like my own stuff, because in the last few years I've been working mostly on other people's stuff, you know. So yeah, and then shows. Like I said, I just got back from Europe. I was doing some shows that side. Now, hopefully, I'm gonna get back on performing in Johannesburg as well, and hopefully in Eswatini, because I was in Eswatini for Bushfire. I was actually shooting the video. I was part of the official team that was documenting the festival. So, and I really enjoyed it. It was my first time in Eswatini, and I really loved it. I really loved the people. Like, feel like people are more peaceful compared to South Africa, to Johannesburg as well.
Yeah, it's peace.
Yeah. People are nice, you know, sweet. And then I love like how green it is, you know, how like the nature and how green it is, and cleaner. It feels cleaner than here. So I look forward to go back. And I'd love to also perform it like maybe places like Bushfire and stuff, because I found that very beautiful. Yeah.
So, not unless there's something that you wanna address, because you are the busiest person. We'd have to come have a part 2 with you. But where can people get hold of you? When can they get your music? Social media?
Most of my music is on all the main social media. So I have a YouTube channel, and it's if you just put on YouTube my name, Luca, Luca, Dimoon, Dimoon, either on YouTube or on Instagram. I don't really use TikTok because I'm a bit old school when it comes to that, and I'm not really even very active on social medias, anyways, unfortunately. But I have most of my music videos, all my music videos, on YouTube, and my Instagram again at Luca Dimoon, LucaDimoon, and then yes, TikTok. I also don't really use X, which is the former Twitter. But yeah, and I'm gonna be releasing soon new music and stuff, also on my website and stuff. So yeah, people can see my progress there.
Bafethu, out here with Luca Dimoon. By the way, he just told me that D in Italian means four.
Of. Yeah.
It means D means of. So if it's Dimoon, it's for the moon. Of moon.
Yes.
It means of moon.
So Luca means light.
Yes.
Dimoon means of moon. So light of moon.
Yes. Light of moon. Now it's the podcast. Does that make sense, Luca?
Mm-hmm.
The podcast. Of podcast.
The podcast, yeah.
No, I made a good example. I made an example with this guy. This guy has a girlfriend, and I'm saying his girlfriend is Welile. So, the Welile.
Yes.
Of Welile.
Yes.
Danko. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Danko. My brother.